Hello, my friends. I'm EnviroBoy. I'm back. I'm playing more Catlateral damage. Diving right into it. We are doing. We have entered sandbox, litterbox, sandbox mode. I don't know. I don't know who I want to be. I mean, it largely doesn't matter. I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be Magoo here, because Magoo, at least in this picture with the calico coloring going on there, makes me think of my kitty. So we're going for we're trying to get like the number of items knocked over in the sandbox mode here. And we're trying to see also if we can't figure out what everything that needs to be knocked over is, to if we can get, you know, like everything knocked off. We'll see. Like if it happens, it happens. I'm not super worried about, like, you know, unlocking everything in the collection there. It's more so that we just need to get our numbers going. The only thing that I'm doing in this, you know, kind of in the name of actually get it done, of like getting every single thing, is I'm making sure to go to every map and knock everything off onto the ground. So that way it's just like, if the game is at least being honest and fair about it and giving us fair opportunities to get everything, then we'll be there. Like, it'll be there. Because what I'm worried about, what I'm genuinely a little worried about, is that like there's just random generation. Like, because it's like each different design of sock counts as a different thing. And so what I'm worried is that if it's random procedural generation for everything, we'll just never encounter things. You know, unless we play for so many hours in a row or whatever. So I'm kind of counting on them at least being fair enough in the game development front here, that they'll make it so that, you know, if we just get everything thoroughly from every map, then we'll sort of inherently get everything that there is to get. I don't know that that's how it's going to be, but that's kind of what I'm banking on here. But it's also why, if for some reason it doesn't work out that way, I'm not going to keep chasing it, because if it's not by default in the levels, so that if you're just like being focused and thorough, you'll get it all, then you know, that's not fair. Like, I don't consider that fair. If you're just waiting on random chance, I don't consider it fair. Like, it's one thing to let random chance. I don't think, hoping that the dish soap thing isn't going to be a problem here, because that thing is glitching out on us hardcore here. Alright, well. Alright, well, that's done for, so. I'm pretty sure we've knocked off soap dishes before, though, so I don't worry too much about that. But yeah, that's kind of my take on it, is it's like, you know, there's only so much. When it comes to an achievement shouldn't be based on random. An achievement should be based on, you know, things that you're capable of actually achieving. Like, it should be a skill-based thing or a determination-based thing, something like that. Something that you are always completely in control of, right? And so that's why I say, if it's just like, if you're thorough and knock everything over, you'll get it. Then yeah, totally fine, great. We'll go for it and we'll try to be thorough and get everything. I'm on board with that. But as soon as I find out, if I realize and figure out that no matter what I do, there's like just, it comes down to chance to get everything, well, to me that's not very fair, and so I'm not gonna kill myself over it trying to get all that. So that's my take. That's how I see it all. And if you disagree with me, then too bad, because I'm the one playing. And as I've always said, I'm doing this to please me, not to please you. Aha. Aha. One of these days, I'm going to say that too many times. I'm just like, you know, this guy's just a prick. I don't know that I want to support him and watch his videos. It just seems like he's kind of angry all the time. He's very confrontational when he talks about, you know, the audience here. It's like he hates us before he even knows us. To which I say, yes, I hate you all. Not true. I have a lot of affection and appreciation for people who actually sit and watch my silly little videos, because that's what they are. They're just silly little videos. That's all they are. That's all I'm making here, is just silly little videos. Bam, bam, bam. I'm gonna have to knock these re-knock these off of shelves, aren't I? Like, yeah, those aren't gonna naturally just go flying off the shelves and stay off of them. Right, there we go. Whoops. All these things knocked out of the closet here. Get out of there. Get out of there. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out of there. There we go. Oh, these. Gotta make sure we're getting our treats here. But yeah, so that's what we're working on. We're working on just trying to get everything. Oh, wow. Getting some glitchy stuff going on here. Although I think those are pretty common enough items that I don't think those ones are ones that we have, you know, yet to unlock and experience. So I'm going to not worry about those ones too much. These bowls are strangely difficult to knock around. Like it's like someone took that like museum putty stuff, you know, that like they stick on museum stuff so it doesn't slide off and fall off the shelves as easily. What it feels like. Come on. Same with this one. Like those sideways books when they're laying on their sides like that. Crazy. Crazy how difficult it can be to swipe some of them off. But honestly, all it does is it makes me more determined. Makes me more determined to succeed where others may quit and fail. I shall succeed because I am the destructive cat. I am not the quitting cat. I'm not quite quitting over here, as is the term everyone likes to use when someone, you know, just like only does their job and doesn't do extra for no extra pay. That's my favorite part about the concept of quiet quitting. Quiet quitting is pretty I've, at least in my experience, it's used pretty exclusively to describe someone who does their job and not more. And specifically, it's like it's used to describe those people by bosses who wish all of their employees would do even more for free. You know, like they want their employees to like just want to work more, which I think is ridiculous. Like, who would want to do that? Like, those bosses probably won't be picking up extra. Like, if those bosses lived the way they want their employees to live, they wouldn't actually have to expect their employees to be the ones to do the extra work. The boss would just go do the extra work, because the boss is the one who would have to pay people anyway. So you know that if they're going to do extra work, they won't get paid for it. So if they really actually valued and understood what they were asking of people with the whole quiet quitting thing, they would be the ones, you know, going and doing more. So really, when you think about it, the bosses are the biggest quiet quitters of them all, because they will not do more work. They only delegate work. And yet they not only do they expect more pay for doing more, they already get more pay for presumably doing more if they're a good boss who like actually like handles the work fairly. But like, man, depending on what level of manager we're talking about too, talk about, you know, lazy amounts of work when you have, you know, just your bosses who like, you know, your middle managers that just show up and basically like listen to the higher manager say, we need this done, and then they go to other people and say, you need to do this. It's like, wow, you know, it'd be a real good way to save a lot of money in a, you know, if you're running a business. Don't pay your employees less, the ones that actually work. Get rid of any middle manager. Either they are on the floor, either they're boots on the ground employees, or they're you, the boss. No need for anyone else. Just a waste of company money, honestly. Obviously, I'm generalizing, and there are lots of situations where I'm going to be wrong, but I'm making generalizations for the sake of general humor right now, okay? So I would appreciate if you would get off my back about it, he said, making assumptions about what people say and feel about what he says, demonstrating just how insecure he is when he's talking to literally absolutely no one. Anyways, we're making progress on this one. In fact, I think this is like the last thing. This punch this out. Just give it a good punch. Punch it out. Sometimes this is all you gotta do. Sometimes you just feel it. You just gotta punch it out. We grab all of our curtains here. Get all of our snacks. 20. We had what, 9? No, 11. We had 11 because we bought 4. We have 11 more things to get at 5, so we need 55 more treats. And then we'll be good to go. Okay, I think we got everything. Let me just check, make sure I got all like the curtains and stuff. Yeah, we got the litter box. We got those curtains. Whoosh. I'm wondering if like peak performance is like, oh, you have to dash so many times. Kind of wondering that. Maybe I should start just like running around and dashing a whole lot. Maybe that'll get us there. I don't know. Alright, well, at any rate, let's go ahead and sit in the box here. Meowvelous. Alright, quit the menu because we're going to keep going through. We're trying to just see if there's any new items that we haven't knocked off yet, like I say. And the compromise I'm willing to make towards chasing that is we'll just do each level and just thoroughly knock everything off of every shelf and, you know, in every room. That's how we'll do it, because we gotta pump our numbers up anyway, right? Like we gotta get the numbers of stuff knocked over anyway to get our other to get all of our achievements, namely the 200,000 items toppled achievement here. So we're gonna go ahead and we'll be proactive about that one. Get those things off. I feel like the easiest way to do a lot of this stuff too, because of like these situations where you have so many things that like will accidentally bump from one shelf to another, is to just kind of like go around the room from highest vantage point to lowest vantage point and just like clear out the shelves, because stuff is gonna like get knocked off of one shelf and land on another one. So it's like if we do it that way, yeah, see, like these, boom. Oh, come on. All right, fine. That way, I don't care how you get off. Just get off. She said. Sorry, that was inappropriate. Wildly inappropriate. This is a family show. It's not. I never claimed to be a saint. Like Natalie Portman in that one Lonely Island song. Okay, I never claimed to be a role model. You know, don't put that on me. I didn't want to be a role model. I just wanted to be some dork who just says funny things sometimes. Just sits here and babbles on while he plays video games. Whatever. There's value in that. I think there is anyway. I don't know. Like, genuinely, I watch Let's Players all the time. I find value in it, but heck, maybe I'm the only one. Maybe I'm the only one who watches it, and like I'm the only audience left. Come on, get it. Go. I'm the only audience left for all of those Let's Players out there. That's not true at all. I know that's not true. I know that's not true. The question is whether my brand of Let's Play is one that's presently marketable, because I feel like, honestly, I feel like just playing a game like this where there's a lot happening on screen is as close to where the market really wants Let's Players to be. Market, the algorithm, however you want to say it. I feel like, generally speaking, it's like the high energy, like screaming a lot, playing like real fast-paced games and stuff. I feel like those are the kinds of Let's Players that the algorithm kind of works best for right now. You know, when you get your people that are like out there, they're just like rambunctious, like talking a whole lot. Usually, like, you get big groups of people all yelling at each other and stuff, multiplayer. Or I also feel like people who are real skilled at, you know, a multiplayer game. Like, I feel like there's pretty big market for people who just, like, you know, absolutely destroy everyone else when they're playing, you know, League of Legends or Counter-Strike or something like that. I feel like there's a pretty big market for that these days, and I don't cater to either of those markets. So I from an algorithmic standpoint, am kind of worthless. Why are these the hardest things to knock off right now? That's weird. Do these count as being knocked onto the ground? Come on now. No, they don't. Okay, so we got to make them sure they're like on the floor there. That's something to keep in mind too when I'm like trying to, it was like when I was trying to get all of the parts of that one, oh, that's actually a good point now that I think about it. We don't need to necessarily do the museum because we already did. Well, I guess we kind of set it up as a procedural one though, and we've kind of determined that maybe that's not the way to go about it. Because if there's going to be a fair way to try and get every item, it's that they presumably have every item in a standard level. But you know, hey, how would we know? How would we know? But yeah, I don't really fit the bill of what most of the like the currently big and popular streamers do. Or Let's Players. That's just not my jam, you know. I'm just a guy sitting playing games, kind of an old guard approach to it. You know, it's like I feel like these types of let's plays that I'm making right now were a lot bigger, you know, a few years ago, and that now these have kind of fallen by the wayside. Because like the thing is, I make fun of it all the time, and that's not really fair because, you know, people like what they like, but like I feel like the thing is the algorithm wants those sort of like, you know, it's like almost the ADHD bait spazzes that just like talk a whole lot real fast, real loud, and make things like a lot of things happen in a short amount of time, right? Because it's like we live in this world now. I'm getting on a soapbox now, so buckle up, buckaroos. But we kind of live in a world right now of, you know, dopamine instant gratification, where it's like it just so much of what we experience in life is designed to just sort of be that. I just realized I never got the curtains in here. Is designed to kind of be that instantaneous, like, okay, we want the entertainment now. We want it in short micro bursts. It's like we're constantly giving ourselves little drug hits, you know, as we're going through life. With, you know, with like TikTok and stuff, it's like if it's longer than 30 seconds, people don't have the attention span for it. It's all about, like I say, it's kind of all about that ADHD hit there, which really isn't a fair way for me to describe it. It's a mischaracterization of, you know, an actual term of an actual condition and stuff. It's not really fair for me to say that, but it's the best way I can think to describe it, honestly. And it just like that's not what I'm interested in pandering to. Namely because I'm not interested in pandering at all. I just want to make what I'm interested in. I'm interested in more pensive, thorough playthroughs where we like actually sit here and we try to experience everything that a game has to offer. Like that's what I think is kind of a shame about it, is I think we've kind of created it, like we've kind of created this system where we don't give, like, especially art and stuff like that, with, you know, the way movies and shows are written and stuff nowadays. Like, I think about just sort of even comparing my time as a kid compared to, you know, times that beforehand. Because my parents would provide me all kinds of entertainment from plenty of generations before just mine, right? Because, like, I grew up with, you know, a VHS player, video cassette player. You know, gonna date myself talking about how old I am about things, but I'm not embarrassed about that. I grew up with that, so we would, you know, my parents would make sure to get, like, you know, we could have VHSs, and then eventually DVDs came along, still while I was a kid. I was kind of the last generation that really experienced and enjoyed a VHS player, you know, because then DVD players, they still came out when I was a kid, so most kids after roughly my millennial generation only ever had DVDs. They never had anything more primitive, quote unquote, than that, and all that kind of stuff. But so at any rate, the reason I brought it up is, you know, my parents would provide those. So like I still grew up with, even though it was a little before my time, I still grew up with things like Mr. Rogers and stuff as a kid. And when you compare that to the shows that came out when I was a kid, so you had shows like SpongeBob, you had shows like Fairly Odd Parents, you had shows, you know, like Dexter's Laboratory and stuff like that. All the Cartoon Network ones, Johnny Bravo, all those kinds of things. When you compare like Mr. Rogers to those things, you can even already in those like eras, you can start to see that there was kind of a difference and what was kind of being made for us, what was being produced, what was being provided for us. And you can see the shift from, you know, slow paced, patient shows that were all about sort of, you know, they like, I guess it's not that they were all about it necessarily, but they sort of expected a certain patience from a kid, maybe a certain attention span from a kid. Compared to then shows that came out later in my childhood, like SpongeBob, right? All those ones that were, you know, that were in my childhood. And you can see there was already sort of this push of, we're not going to expect the kids to learn attention span. We're going to use the sort of like animalistic instincts of that child to want to like, to crave, you know, the instantaneous, like, we're, you know, like it is Like, we're getting that hit of dopamine, that rush of dopamine, you know, that sort of, you know, drug hit a la kids, you know, we already had that thoroughly coming for us kids. And I feel like that's just kind of getting worse and worse these days. And so, you know, where this conversation comes from, why I'm bringing this up, why I'm ranting about this is, you know, like I say, to kind of emphasize that that's not, I don't want to, you know, I'm not trying to pander to that. I don't want to be part of that because, you know, far be it from me to necessarily be, you know, that guy who says, oh, the kids these days, blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, every generation's different, and I'm not going to assume one thing or another about, you know, like, how doomed is this, that, or the other generation, right? Because it's real easy to see something that's different and think it's a problem just because it's different from what I've done. Different doesn't inherently mean problematic. It can be problematic. It doesn't inherently mean it. But the flip side of it is, I do worry about the nature of attention spans, the fact that we can't hold a conversation, we can't hold a storyline, you know, in media for more than 5-minute time spans before we either need some big, loud, you know, noise with flashes of color and everything to draw us back in, or, you know, or a complete and utter shift, you know, because we've already completed it. Like, we have 30 seconds to tell you a story before you move on. So I need to successfully tell you that story, and we've already moved on. You know, it's like a story as long as a commercial break. You know, that's so much of what it is. I mean, just look at the way movies are. Like, how often do we see like a slow burn, pensive movie, like some of the, you know, like we used to see a lot more of. Everything's a big action flick. Everything is, you know, everything's Marvel. Heck, even when you have something like Oppenheimer that comes out that is sort of, you know, that school of film where it's a slow burn, story driven type of thing. Even then, it's like, geez, how many scenes include some sort of, you know, some sort of action sequence of people, you know, working on and creating explosives and stuff like that, right? Like, it's about the nuclear bomb, obviously, so that's going to be in there. You know, like, how often do they add in the scenes with the nudity to, like, make sure they suck us back in, right? And it's like, what is wrong with us that we can't stay focused on one train of thought for longer than 3 minutes? Is it because we've been conditioned like that? Did we choose it? I don't know. There's a lot of it, and I don't claim to know the answers. All I know is that I don't want to add to that endless pile of that kind of stuff that continues to come out, because that's all you can find in so many other places. Like, we don't need more of that. I don't want to create more of that. I wish there was less of that kind of stuff, you know? Like, I like more media that's kind of more in the vein of a book, where you have to sort of patiently put in some effort to get the payoff. And while I'm not certainly saying that my videos are anything particularly thought-provoking, I'm sitting here playing Catlateral Damage. Like, I can't get too high on my own farts here about it. But at the very least, you know, I don't want to be sitting here screaming, shouting, hollering, hooting, you know, trying to getting myself and 4 other people all screaming at each other, yelling, all that kind of stuff. I want to be able to sit here and, you know, play a game and let my thoughts about that game, or, you know, even beyond that, kind of wander. And that's the fun part about this game. As much as Catlateral Damage itself is kind of a spastic experience right now. I mean, look at this cat. This cat is, you know, a Marvel character, just leaping bounds all over the place. Just absolute insanity. The flip side of it is, we've been able to sit here and have, you know, a discussion about something very different and to me at least very important still. And we've been able to do it for, you know, this entire time without being overly, you know, distracted by stuff. So, and that's the kind of stuff I want to create. And so that's why, you know, where it all started, like, I recognize that as far as algorithm chasing goes, I'm not making the stuff that I should be making if I wanted to try and, you know, farm as many views as I want to, or as possible. It is because I'm not in this to farm views. I'm not in this to try and make a living off of it. I'm in this to make the kind of content I like and the kind of content that I wish there was more of. So, you know, I don't know, just something to think about. There we go with this one. That's great. We made some progress there. A lot of talking I just did. All right, on to the next level, though. I did notice at one point in there, at least, we did get one new thing that we hadn't found beforehand. So into the modern home we go. Let's go here. We're just gonna keep it rolling. I'm gonna keep it rolling. Keep trying to destroy everything in sight. What we're gonna do. And yeah. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of where my philosophy is, and like it's hard. I struggle with it because I bounce back and forth on how strongly I feel about those things. You know, how understanding versus, you know, kids these days I am about stuff along those lines. I bounce back and forth a lot of it, you know, to use the political buzzwords that were real big when I was in like high school. I sometimes am a flip-flopper about it. And I recognize that, and I recognize that I have imperfect opinions about these types of things, and that maybe I'm not always being perfectly fair when I say and feel these types of things. But I think it's important to let yourself, like, this kind of is part of why I like the more pensive, slow burn things, because I think it gives us room to think about things and to let ourselves have changing opinions, because the fact is, like, I think it's an important part of just growing as a person to let your opinions on stuff change, to examine thoughts and ideas and have, you know, your take on things challenged and you know, and corrected and changed. I think that's an important part of growth. I think we do ourselves a disservice when we avoid ideas that disagree with our own and just automatically assume that, you know, our own ideas are right and that other people are wrong. I think that's a problem, and I think anyone of any walk of life, with any take on stuff, is prone to falling victim to that. And so I try to let myself have my ideas, recognize that, you know, even if I feel pretty strongly about them, they are not immutable. They could change. Like, new information could come out one day that could change those opinions, those you know, those ideas, those thoughts that I have. That's just what it is to be human. I mean, think about it. It doesn't even have to be about anything controversial. Like, we thought we understood, you know, the concept of you know, the sun and the moon and everything, you know, for the longest time as humans, and then one day we realized that, oh no, the sun doesn't revolve around the earth revolves around the sun. Like, that's not even a controversial take nowadays. Like, you know, the concepts about, like, there are still people who do the flat earth, and I guess there's probably someone out there who still thinks that sun rotates around the earth, but, like, largely speaking, that's not even a controversial one. Like, everyone's like, oh yeah, no, we learned that, we understand that now. Like, that's something that we have as a collective humanity, a collective human race, we've learned and we've improved on. But the only way we got there is by, like, you know, having people with open minds trying to discover and understand new things. So it's like, you know, that's an important part of this whole process is, you know, letting ourselves, like I say, letting ourselves explore, think, ponder, and challenge each other and be challenged by each other. We have to do that. So all that to say, if you disagree with me, then by all means disagree with me on the nature of what is, you know, what's today's entertainment like. Is that good? Is that bad? Do we strive for something different? Because I don't think there's an explicitly right answer. I think there are some things that have truth and other things that don't have truth. But it's hard to find any one thing that is immutably the most correct or the only correct answer about stuff. I think we're gonna be hard pressed to find the stuff like that, because the fact is, life in the universe and the world have so much nuance to them. And that's, you know, that's one of the beautiful things about, you know, reality. I guess if I'm gonna, you know, offer some, you know, I don't know, platitudes. Platitude's not really the right word for that, but I've been certainly offering platitudes as it is. But, you know, I don't know. Just thoughts that I have in my mind as I'm sitting here and letting Catlateral damage turn into my, you know, my vlog journal type of experience here. Whoops. Oh, shoot. I might have done that one. Oh, okay. We're good. We're good. Get on there, feather duster. Not really a feather duster. I think that's more of a cat toy type of thing. That's okay. There. Grab all these things. Out of here. Nope. Nope. There we go. There we go. Okay, is that everything in this room? I think it is, because we got all the curtains. This episode might end up being longer, just when I think about the size of this map, this board, if you will. Like, if you're a real old school gamer, all maps boards. They would call them back in the days of, like, you know, the original Zelda games, and call them boards. Cause it was like, because those games were at that time in video game history were designed much more like almost a board game or something. And like, not in the sense of like they played like one, but that's just kind of the concept of how they organized it, like the world, because it was 2D top down type stuff. So like it was more like you had your game board, your board of play. So there was that term got used a lot, and nowadays it's, you know, we've switched over to kind of using the term map, which just kind of makes more sense with the way we organize and design games and set up environments for games and all that stuff these days. But yeah, this one might take us a little bit longer to get everything, 'cause it's a little bit bigger, but you know, that's fine. Nothing wrong with a little bit longer session. I don't mind. I try to keep episodes to around 45 minutes, but truthfully, I don't mind hour-long episodes. Really the big drive for me to not do longer episodes anyway is, one, making them more approachable for the audience. Like, I'm not trying to, you know, I just went on this whole rant about how I do what I want to do, and I'm not trying to pander. But the flip side of it is, again, you know, I'm trying to make what I like, and I don't like when, you know, my favorite content creators only make hour-long videos, because that's such an investment of time. I mean, 45 minutes is already an investment of time. My hope is that people are content to be like, yeah, it's a long episode, but if I want to watch it all, what I can do is I can just, like, start it and come back to it later. Like, I hope that people kind of recognize that that's an option with mine, because there's rarely a story so dependent on timing with what I'm doing that if you don't watch it all in one go, it's not there. It's kind of like, that's the thing, like, it's like movies can be hard to start and stop a movie, because the way they're written and designed is very much dependent on sort of like one contiguous train of thought. Like, you know, it's like when you think about like the concept of Chekhov's, you know, story plots and all that kind of stuff. A lot of it is dependent on, you know, being able to do stuff in quick enough succession that we don't lose track of what we're trying to accomplish with the story and all that. But with these, you know, it's like games will have stories, so to a certain degree, there is maybe a bit of that. But even then, it's like, that's kind of going out the window by having, like, games actually can't really be that dependent on that kind of stuff. And it's something that I always try to, like, think about when I'm, you know, like, if I'm trying to write a story for a D&D game, right? Because it's the same situation as video games, where it's like, we start and stop them a lot. Like, very few people have the ability to start and stop any video game of any length in one session necessarily, right? Because a video game will last, like, if a video game is shorter than 10 hours, you know, personally, that's when I'm definitely like, I guess I shouldn't say shorter than 10 hours. There are plenty of games that are just like, you know, 2 or 3 hour affairs that are fine. But generally speaking, especially if we're talking about like a AAA title, game that's less than, you know, a 10-hour game makes me feel more than anything like I've been cheated out of, you know, my money by getting something that that isn't really telling a good story. You know, again, like I say, obviously there are exceptions, but generally speaking, when there's a story-driven game, I expect that much time out of it. No one has, even if they did have the time, no one has the energy. Okay, I'm not gonna say no one, because you know what happens when you make big generalizations like that. Someone immediately, like, the number one way to find the correct answer about something online is to just say something that may be wrong, and a million people will come out and correct you. So, like, you know, I'm not gonna speak in absolutes and say, yeah, nobody has 10 hours, but mostly nobody has 10 hours that they can sacrifice on you know, one single video game at a time. Like, in overall, they can't. Obviously, they do. I sacrificed over the course of a year. I sacrificed over 600 hours of my time to Tears of the Kingdom, because that game just struck right with me. Right, it struck real well with me. But that just kind of highlights my point. 600 hours I devoted. 600 hours did not happen in one go. Believe it or not, I did not just sit down for 600 hours straight. I don't know what the math of that would be, but that's somewhere in the vicinity of 25 to 30 days straight with no sleep, no eating, nothing. And I did not do that. Right? So it's like, so where I'm going with this is, no one has that kind of time. So video games kind of have to be able to tell a story in a way that doesn't rely on you sitting there in one singular go, finishing the whole thing, right? Like, you can start it and stop it at any time, and it will sort of provide you what you need to be able to still track and follow and understand the story, right? And so that's why with, where I started with this whole explanation of all these types of things, that's why with my videos, I'm not super worried about them being longer, because some people might prefer a 20-minute episode or a 10-minute episode or whatever. I don't mind them being longer, because you can obviously start and stop my videos at any given time. I do that with a lot of the Let's Players and YouTubers that I like to watch, is I will start and stop their videos just based on having time, because it's hard for me sometimes even to, at any given time, find 20 minutes to sit down and watch a single episode, right? Like, if I'm lucky, my day is one organized and busy or not busy in such a way that I can sort of passively be sitting and having them on in the background, for a lot of time while I'm going. And it's like, on a day like that, I'm pretty happy, because I can just kind of keep a constant stream of the interesting stuff that I'm curious about, that I like watching, all that stuff. I can kind of just keep that going. But that's not every day. And so sometimes I need to start and stop videos, and that's okay. And I hope that people recognize that that's okay to do with my videos. You don't have to all in one go them. But, so yeah, it's like, that's why I have episodes the length that I do, because I don't worry too much about them having to be there. And I like the 45-minute format, because the thing about it is, I do feel like a 45-minute, if I release a 45-minute episode every day, for those that do want more content, that's a good substantial amount of content. And there's a part of me that wishes I could offer even more per day. The problem comes in for me on the, when do I record that much per day? Because the thing is all of my like, I do this in the most time efficient way possible, which is that I just start recording, and it's just like a constant, a steady stream, almost as if I am just doing like a live stream that just like goes until I'm done. I don't do any editing. I don't cut these down. So there's no wasted footage or film. Like, everything is just, I sit down, I hit record, and then I start talking. Like, that's all I do. That is how I do my episodes and everything. We're gonna have to break this one up into multiple episodes. That's how I approach it. That's how I like to do it. That's how I want to do it. That's how I will continue to do it. It's who I am. That's just how I do. That's how I do these things. I like to do it that way. It's great. It's fun. I have a good time with it. But I only have so many hours in a day. And so that what that means also, if that's how I do it, that means that for every hour of on-screen entertainment you get, there's like an hour of me having to sit and produce that content and make that, record that. And so it would start getting quite difficult, start getting very difficult for me if I wanted to do too much more than that, because I just would not have the time. I would be running so short on time all of the time, trying to get all of those things, recorded and taken care of. So, that's what stops me from doing more. Because in terms of desire, I wish I had all the time in the world that I could do even more than what I already do. Because you know, like there is a part of me that does absolutely wish that I could just sit and play video games all day. I would love that. Even more relevantly, it's my biggest fantasy is always that I could have, if I could have one superpower, it would be the ability to pause time. I don't even need to be able to control time entirely. I just want to be able to pause time. And because it's all made up and, you know, and everything, I can just kind of make up the rules of how that would work. And the idea for me is that if I could pause time, then I could play video games while time is paused. And so I could play them for hours and hours to my heart's content, and then just unpause time when I actually needed to go do productive stuff. That's what I wish. You know, it's like I could pause time during all my workouts and stuff so I could get exercise in however I wanted. I'd be the most fit individual you've ever seen. It would be insane just how fit and healthy I would be. Because I would pause time and I could get like the most thorough, intense workouts in the world done, and it would be impressive, and everyone would look at my physique and they'd be like, wow, he's the sexiest man alive. And I'd be like, you gosh darn right I am. But unfortunately, I can't pause time, and you're just gonna have to believe me on that one, because the thing is A, how do I prove that I can't? Right? Because, like, you know, how could I prove that I absolutely can't? And the other thing is, too, is if I could pause time, you better believe I'm not telling everyone in the world about that. It's kind of a Superman type thing. As soon as I told everyone that I could pause time, there'd be a million people asking me to do, like, all their chores for them, because they'd be like, well, it doesn't take you any time at all. And I'm a nice enough person that I would say yes way more often than I should. I'm not going to say I would say yes every time. There are plenty of things that I'd be like, no, do it yourself, and I would stop them. And I probably would learn over time to be that harsh and shrewd about it. But in general, as a general rule, I'm too nice. And I know that, like, my family would be like, Scott, we don't wanna mow the lawn. It's a lot of work. You can do it without even taking any time. Are you willing to do it? And I'd be like, I guess. And so I would just, like, you know, I can't say I would spend time doing it, because time is meaningless. There's no time. I can do whatever I want. You know, I can pause time. No limitations for me. But there's still a matter of, like, want to, right? Like, I don't, because I can pause time, it doesn't take any time, doesn't mean I want to sit and experience sitting in prison or something like that. That sounds horrible and boring, and I don't want to do that. So, you know, I would never tell anyone. So that's just it. Even if there was a way for me to prove that I can't pause time, you're just gonna have to take my word for it, because if I can pause time, I'm not telling you about it. So, you know, there we are. It's a matter of how much do you trust me, I guess. It's in a weird, convoluted, meaningless way. But yeah, so, like, I can't pause time. I wish I could. Oh, how I wish I could. Oh, how I wish I could. But yeah, so it's like, if I could pause time, when I brought that up, if I could pause time, I would totally pause time and record, you know, just more content than anyone would believe, if possible. Because I would, like, if I could pause time, I would essentially pause time, sit down, start playing a video game, and, like, I would just leave when I needed to take bathroom breaks, or when I was hungry and I needed to eat. I just would leave time paused, probably, and I would sit down and do it. And it's like, oh, if I need to stretch my legs and stuff and get a workout in, then I would leave time paused and I would go get a workout in. I could just go to the gym and just work around everyone that's there. Just like that would dictate what my workout is. I would just do everything that I can do without disturbing all of the frozen in time people around me. You know, I would just do that. And that would be my entire life. And I would only really ever unpause time for things that demanded, that required time be unpaused, right? So it's like, I would unpause time for the sake of spending time with other people, because, like, if I pause time, then those other people are frozen in time. I can't hang out with them if they're frozen in time. It doesn't really work that way. So it's like, that's the only time I would unpause time. So it would be like every day, it'd be like, how does this guy record and produce more than, 24 hours worth of content per day? So, like, it would be obscene amounts of content, for the sake of disguising, because, like I say, because I wouldn't want to tell anyone about my abilities. We're gonna nip it up here because I wouldn't want to tell anyone about my abilities and give myself away. I would stop at like maybe producing 1 hour of content daily and call it good there. But I would also, the fun thing about that is I could just like pre-record everything on Earth, right? I could pre-record every single thing I would ever want to make and produce for people, because there'd be like no time, there'd be no time restraints for me, no time constraints. I could just do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. It'd be great. I'd have like, I would have recorded all 600 hours of me doing Tears of the Kingdom. That's what I'm looking for. I would have recorded all that and just like put it out there. Although that's the other thing about it too. If I had all the time in the world, you know, I would record all that, but then I would like edit them down. I would take so much time. I would learn how to, well, I wouldn't take time, get it? Haha. But I would take so much time to learn how to be like a good editor and actually understand how to edit, because that's a lot of why I don't edit also. So I don't know how to do it, and I don't have the time. I don't have the, well, I guess I should say, like, I shouldn't say I don't have the time. If it meant something to me, I would make the time for it. I don't have the desire to learn how to edit. It's not that I don't value editing or that I don't think it's worth anyone's time. It's just a matter of, like, you have to choose what you do with your life, because we only have so many hours, because, as, you know, we keep talking about and we keep going back to, I can't actually pause time. Much as I wish I could, I cannot. So I have to be choosy about how I spend my time in my life. And learning how to edit is just not one of the things that I want to do. It's not fun to me. That feels like a chore. That feels like work. But maybe if I didn't have to spend time doing it, it would feel less like work and more like a fun way to improve something that I like doing and do better at it. So I'm looking at the time here. I am going to let this episode be longer because we just have this room left on this one, and that way we can actually be at a decent stopping point when we get there. So we'll do that. No, grab that. Drop that out. Drop that out. Drop that out. Swipe it. I've run out of things to talk about. I don't know. See, and like the thing is like I'm being thorough because I want to try and see if we can get every single thing knocked off. The other thing that I'm sitting here and I'm thinking more and more. I'm like, you know what? How much is the 20,000 objects toppled thing worth it to me? Like, how much is that worth to me? What do I get? What do I get if I get that achievement? You know, I get the pride of having gotten the achievement. Great, that's cool. Do I care about it? And the answer right now is maybe. Maybe. I don't not care about it, but I don't know that I really care about it. So I don't know. I'm right now immediately thinking maybe we go unlock all of the photos. Maybe what we'll do here is, because this episode's gonna be longer anyway, I'm gonna think about it while we finish this thing off. We're gonna get all of the photos, and I'm gonna see, because we've definitely got enough treats at this point in time that we're gonna be able to unlock every photo in the game. So we're going to get all of the photos, and then I'm going to go and see how I feel with all of the photos unlocked, and see if that gives me the sense of enough satisfaction for me to be like, you know what, we have caused enough Catlateral damage. I am ready to move on with my life and play a different game. I may be at that point as I'm sitting here thinking of, because here's what I'm thinking about. We have spent, at this point, by the time it's done, we'll have spent 25 minutes to a half hour on this one level alone. I don't even need to be chasing the treats right now. I just need to knock stuff off. To a half hour on this level alone. And the levels are only going to get bigger from here on out. So to get all of the levels and try to get all the things, and then to get to, because like also, not even 1,000 items. Not even 1,000 items. We won't get to 1,000 items. There's no way there's 1,000 items. There's no way there's 250 items left in this map. There's just no way. No way that's the case. So, you know, how many more of these are we going to have to do to get up to that 20,000? Like, we might be close to 10,000 in general at this point. Might be. That's still a long way off. Okay, like I know we've already gotten all those dishes. I know we've already gotten all these things. I think maybe it's gonna be a time for me to call this one an episode. I can already feel I'm getting tired. Boy, oh boy, I was talking so big. I was talking so big about everything. I always do. I always have these big ideas to like be a completionist and be an achievement hunter and stuff like that. But the other thing that I'm thinking about too is like they have those achievements there for like the collections and stuff, but it's never actually just the achievement that does it for me. It's the unlockables. It's the usable things that I care about. And so we've gotten all the cats, and all of the pictures are fun because we can use the pictures in the sense of, oh, cute kitty, I can look at that picture and enjoy it. So it's like we can use things in that sense. And so that's kind of fun. But then beyond that, kind of like, know that I care, don't know that I care. So, yeah, you know what? We're going to call this one an episode at this point. We're going to go back to our box. We're going to sleep in. We're going to go ahead and unlock. Oh, did we not do this one? We don't need to do this one. We already have all the treats. Impulse, man. So, yeah, let's unlock the rest of the cat pictures here. We definitely have enough for that. And then I'm going to think about it, and we may call this one episode. Or call this a playthrough. Let's quit to the menu. I mean, what are we on? Episode 9? I think we're on episode 9 at this point. That's way more episodes than I was expecting to get out of this game. I was expecting to get like 3 or 4. So this game owes us nothing. Let's go to our collection. Let's go to our photos. The photos are fun. The photos mean something. Like I say, the photos mean something to me because cute cats are cute cats. You see, now we have Murphy, who's just chilling like a villain. And we got Patches, who is a New England Patriots fan, which we can forgive because he's also adorable. But he definitely looks like a cool kid. And then we've got, who else do we got here? This is, we got there we go. That's what I'm looking for. I lost track of my cursor for a second there. I have Caramel and Esmeralda, both chilling, just watching the world go by. I get that. We've all been there. Chuck and Pip chilling together, best friends. We have Daisy and Gatsby having a snooze together, so sweet. We have Kato and Richter. I like how we've just gotten photo completionists. We've collected all the photos, when no, we haven't. Okay, well, we're gonna get actually all the photos here. Latte and Mocha. Oh, hanging out with the baby. That's so sweet. These photos, Simba and Pearl. This is as close to what it's gonna look like once my two kitties, my cat, my girlfriend's cat, become best friends. They're slowly warming up to each other and getting to be close friends. And we've got Andy. He's an orange. He's got his one orange brain cell. And then we have Leela, she's only got one eye, but she's a little calico like that. And so this will be pretty close to what it looks like. Because this will also be about it. Because you can kind of tell that Simba's kind of the more chill, relaxed one. And Pearl looks like she's a bit of a spaz. And that's Andy is like super chill old man. And Leela's just a spazzy little girl. But we have Wily Kit and Wily Cat, which is super cute. Probably call them Kit Kat for short, which is just as cute, if not cuter. And then who we got here? We got Dova the pup. Maybe like Dova Keen. Super cute and sweet. Dr. Molly Pringlebrule. An amazing name. An absolutely incredible name. And then bonus one, we have Harley. Harley is the 301st photo. Although I think actually the one standalone most outstanding photo, I think probably actually has to go to our friend Frogatha here. Because there's only one. There's multiple dogs, lots of cats. Maybe I may be tied with Earthy here. Those two. Most unique photos go to it. And actually, now that we have all the photos, I'm definitely feeling content. Look at that. We still have over 10,000 objects to go. That would take forever. I don't know that I care enough about that one. We never found out what peak performance is. Actually, hold on a second. What's a peak performance? What's that one supposed to be? I'm gonna pause and I'm gonna look it up. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. I figured it out. We're gonna go. We need to. We can knock this one out real easy. Go to procedural. It doesn't matter. Let's be this kitty. We need to go. I think Modern Home will do it. If we're in the procedural, I think this will do it. Hold on. Let's see here. What we need to do is we need to find a treadmill. We need to find a treadmill and the modern home allegedly has the treadmill. And we need to run on the treadmill a little bit. That's what we need to do. Somewhere in here, there should be a treadmill. I hope there's a treadmill in here somewhere. Nope, not in there. We'll restart if we need to. We'll restart if we need to. Because I want this. I want this. I do want to. Because it's adorable. Because peak performance is you have to run on the treadmill for a while. That's so super adorable. I want to achieve this. I want this one. I know I'm being insane, but I need this. I need this. All right, hold on. End level. Yes. End the level. And then we'll just keep retrying until we get a treadmill. Retry. Does feeling motion sick? Try increasing the field of view. No, we're not feeling motion sick because we're not weak. We are a cat. We are a strong, powerful cat. We are a strong, powerful cat. Let's see if we can find... Treadmill. 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 I was told I would find a treadmill in this one. I might pause it until we find a treadmill. I might do that for your sake. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Gonna end the level. Yes, we're going to end the level, and I'm going to pause, and then we'll be back. We'll be back right find the treadmill. We'll do that one, and then we won't worry about the rest of them. So give me 1 second. All right, we're here. We did it. We got it. We've accomplished what we needed to accomplish, kind of. Now we just need to get on here and run. We just need to run on the treadmill for at least like a certain amount of time. It said 30 seconds. I don't know if that's cumulative. I definitely spent some time on the treadmills early on the first time I noticed them, thinking that maybe it would do more for us, but it didn't, and then I gave up on them, not realizing that I had to just sort of... Yeah, there it is. Peak performance. Okay. All right, we've achieved peak performance, which, like, what more could we want from our cat? So I think now is the time for us to call it an episode, and call it a curtain close on Catlateral damage, at least for now. Maybe we'll come back to it. But for now, I'm gonna say thank you so much for joining me on this extra long episode with lots of rants and you know, and platitudes. I love and appreciate all of you. Go, you know what? Just go do what you want to do and pretend, do what you would do what you love to do, and don't just spend the time, because you only get so much of it. Spend time doing what you love to do. I mean, obviously you got some things that you have to do, so don't shrug off your responsibilities, but make sure in the time that you do have, make sure you also do some of the things you love to do, because there's only so many hours in a day, days in a week, weeks in a month, months in a year, years in a lifetime. So there you go. All right, love you. Bye.